Denmark's King Frederik and Queen Mary celebrate new reign with balcony kiss for crowds. Massive crowds gathered outside the palace in Copenhagen to celebrate the new king after his mother, Queen Margrethe II, formally signed her abdication to pass the throne to her son. New images show King Frederik X and his family waving and enthusiastically addressing crowds from the balcony at Christiansborg Palace after taking the throne. Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen proclaimed Frederik king from the balcony of the palace before many thousands of subjects of a kingdom where the trappings of royalty are mostly symbolic in today's modern era of constitutional democracy. She read the proclamation 3 times, which is the tradition, as Frederik stood beside her wearing a ceremonial military uniform adorned with medals. He was then joined on the balcony by the new, Australian-born Queen Mary, and the couple's 4 children, and the crowd spontaneously sang the national anthem. Massive crowds gathered outside the palace to celebrate the new king after his mother, Queen Margrethe II, formally signed her abdication to pass the throne to her popular son. The queen is the first Danish monarch to voluntarily relinquish the throne in nearly 900 years. Thousands of people gathered outside the palace where the royal succession took place, with the Nordic nation experiencing its first royal succession in more than a half-century, and one not caused by the death of a monarch. Wearing a magenta outfit, Margrethe signed her abdication during a meeting with the Danish cabinet at the Christiansborg Palace. This is a vast complex in Copenhagen that has been the seat of Danish power for centuries. It now houses the royal reception rooms and royal stables as well as the Danish Parliament, the Prime Minister's office and the Supreme Court. The new king said, "My hope is to become a unifying king of tomorrow. It is a task I have approached all my life." He was congratulated by King Charles III and Queen Camilla, who have sent the new monarch their very best wishes. It is the custom for each new sovereign to adopt a royal motto as a guiding principle for their reign, and Frederik's is, "United, committed, for the Kingdom of Denmark." He added, "I want to return the trust I meet. I need trust from my beloved wife, you and that which is greater than us." He then kissed Mary, who wore a white dress, and another great cheer rose from the crowd. The family then left Christiansborg Palace in a horse-drawn coach as church bells rang out, and headed to their Amalienborg residence, where they once again appeared before a huge crowd of people cheering and waving Denmark's flag. Frederik, who was visibly moved, placed both hands on his heart in a gesture of thanks. The abdication document was earlier presented to Margrethe as she sat at a massive table covered in red cloth around which royals and members of the Danish government were seated. Frederik sat beside her. After signing it, Margrethe rose and gestured to Frederik to take her place. "God save the king," she said as she left the room. The abdication leaves Denmark with 2 queens. Margrethe keeps her title, while Frederik's wife becomes Queen Mary. The king's eldest son, 18-year-old Christian, is now crown prince and heir to the throne. Citing health issues, Margrethe announced on New Year's Eve that she would step down, stunning a nation that had expected her to live out her days on the throne, as is the tradition in the Danish monarchy. Margrethe underwent major back surgery last February and didn't return to work until April. Even the Prime Minister was unaware of the Queen's intentions until right before the announcement. Margrethe had informed Frederik and his younger brother Joachim just 3 days earlier, the Berlingske newspaper wrote, citing the royal palace. The Royal Guard's music band made their daily parade through downtown Copenhagen, but wore red jackets, instead of their usual black, to mark major events. Copenhagen resident René Jensen, wearing a replica of a royal robe and a bejeweled purple crown on his head, said that he expected Frederik to be a king for the nation, representing us everywhere. The last time a Danish monarch voluntarily resigned was in 1146, when King Erik III Lam stepped down to enter a monastery. Margrethe abdicated on the same day of January that she ascended the throne following the death of her father, King Frederik IX, on January 14, 1972. Australians also turned out on the streets of Copenhagen to celebrate one of their own becoming queen. One woman who traveled from Brisbane to witness the event said, "I think it's good that she's not from royalty and has a normal Australian background. We can relate more to that, because she's from a middle-class background, and we are too." All the latest news, showbiz, lifestyle and sports updates, brought to you by our dedicated American team. Make sure to subscribe, like and share FM Newsindo channel on YouTube so you're not missing out.